Hello, my friend. When you're at a large mall or electronics store, take a moment to observe.
You'll likely spot the latest Samsung or Apple phones, designed in America and South Korea.
Perhaps you'll see Japanese TVs or German cars. It's a world of choices extending beyond gadgets to include various international brands of clothing, food, and beverages.
However, this wasn't always like this. Just 20 or 30 years ago, Indian markets offered far fewer options, primarily featuring domestically produced goods.
The current abundance of global products represents a significant shift.
How did our markets become so diverse? And what impact does this variety have on our lives?
This chapter will explore these questions, delving into the concept of globalization, the process of countries becoming interconnected, particularly through trade and investment.
Think of it like making the world's best biryani. You wouldn't get everything from just one shop, would you?
No. To make the perfect biryani, you'd get the fragrant basmati rice from Punjab, the special spices from Kerala, and maybe the recipe from a famous chef in Hyderabad.
MNCs do the exact same thing, but with their products. Let's take your smartphone. The brain of the phone, the processor, might be designed by experts in America.
The beautiful, bright screen could be made in South Korea. The amazing camera sensor, that might come from Japan.
And where is it all put together? In a massive factory in a place like China, or even right here in India.
Why do they go through all this trouble? My friend, it's all about being smart with money. An MNC sets up different parts of its work where it can be done best and for the lowest cost.
They might build a factory in a country where the workers are skilled, but labor is cheaper.
They might set up a customer service call center in India because we have so many brilliant English-speaking young people who can help customers from all over the world.
They might do the design work in a country known for its amazing engineers.
By breaking up the job and giving each piece to a different country, the MNC saves a huge amount of money. And saving money means they can earn bigger profits.
So you see, these MNCs are not just selling things everywhere. They are making things everywhere, all at once.
Okay, so we know these giant MNCs are like master chefs, using ingredients from all over the world. But how do they actually walk into a country like India and start working? How do they get control?
Well, they have a few clever methods. Method 1, the power partnership.
Sometimes an MNC will team up with a local Indian company that's already doing well. This is called a joint production.
Think of it like this. Imagine your local neighborhood has a fantastic cricket team. They know the pitch perfectly and have great players.
Now, what if a huge rich sponsor comes along and says, "Hey, I'll give your team money for the best bats, new uniforms, and a professional coach"?
That's what an MNC does. The MNC brings in the money, we call this investment, to buy new, faster machines.
And it brings the latest technology to make things better. The local company benefits from the money and technology, and the MNC gets a partner that already knows the market. It's a win-win.
Method 2. The big fish buys the small fish.
But my friend, here's the most common way MNCs get in. They don't just partner up, they buy the local company completely.
MNCs have huge amounts of money, even more than entire yearly budget of many developing countries. With that kind of cash, buying a local company is easy.
Let me tell you a real story. There was a popular Indian company called Perk Foods.
They were famous for their edible oil and had a fantastic network to sell their products all over India.
Then, a large American MNC called Cargill Foods came along. Cargill saw how good Perk Foods was, so they just bought them.
Instantly, Cargill took control of Perk's factories and its amazing sales network. Overnight, Cargill became the biggest maker of edible oil in India, with the power to produce a mind-boggling 5 million packets of oil every single day.
Method 3. The invisible boss.
There's a third super smart way MNCs control things.
They don't even have to own the factory. Big MNCs, especially for things like clothes, shoes, or footballs, will simply place huge orders with smaller, independent factories all around the world.
These small factories make the products. Then, the MNC buys the finished goods, sticks its famous brand name on them, and sells them to you for a high price.
In this situation, the MNC is like an invisible boss.
They have all the power. They decide the price they'll pay, the quality they demand, the exact day it must be delivered, and can even influence the working conditions for the people making the products.
They control everything without owning a single brick of the factory.
So you see, through partnerships, buyouts, or by acting as an invisible boss, MNCs weave their way into countries, connecting and controlling production all across the globe. My friend, long before these large MNCs, countries were still connecting with each other. How? Through foreign trade.
You've probably read in your history books about the ancient Silk Road, right? Or how trading companies like the East India Company sailed all the way to India.
For centuries, trade was the main highway connecting different parts of our world.
So what does trade actually do? Let's simplify it.
Imagine, there are two separate neighborhood markets that can't reach each other.
In Market A, your local market, Indian-made toys cost 100 rupees. In Market B, in China, similar toys cost only 50 rupees.
Now what if we build a super fast highway? That's trade between these two markets.
Chinese toy makers suddenly have a new place to sell their stuff. They start sending their cheaper, newly designed plastic toys to India.
Now, when you go to a toy shop, you have a choice. The Indian toy for 100 rupees or the Chinese toy for 60 rupees.
What do you think happened? Exactly. The Chinese toys were cheaper and looked cool.
Very quickly. Almost 7 or 8 out of every 10 toys sold in India were the Chinese ones. And because of this competition, the price of all toys in the Indian market came down.
So, let's look at the scorecard.
For you, the buyer, it's great. You get more choices and lower prices.
For the Chinese toy makers, it's fantastic. They have a huge new market for their business.
For the Indian toy makers, this is tough. They suddenly lose a lot of sales because they can't compete with the lower prices.
This is the power of trade. It connects or integrates markets. Goods start flowing between countries.
Prices for the same product in two different countries start becoming similar.
And companies from different corners of the world are suddenly in a direct fight with each other.
Now, bring the MNCs back into this story. A huge amount of the world's trade today is actually controlled by MNCs.
Remember the Ford car factory near Chennai? It doesn't just build cars for us in India.
It exports thousands of cars to be sold in countries like Mexico and Brazil. It even ships car parts from Chennai to other Ford factories across the globe.
So MNCs use these trade highways not just to sell a final product, but to constantly move parts and pieces between their factories all over the world. We have explored MNCs, global trade, and various examples. Let's define globalization.
Globalization is the process transforming the world from separate countries into a single, interconnected entity.
Much like a city where roads, metro lines, and phone networks link every neighborhood, facilitating rapid movement of people and goods and quick spread of trends, the same is occurring on a global scale.
This rapid connection is happening mainly because of two things:
Foreign trade, more and more goods are crossing borders.
foreign investment. More and more money is flowing between countries, mostly from MNCs building and buying things.
MNCs are the main drivers of this process, acting like the master planners of this giant global city.
They are pushing for more and more movement of goods, services, investments, and technology between countries.
But wait, there's one more thing that moves between countries. Can you guess what it is? It's people.
Think about your cousin who might have gone to Australia for college, or a family friend who works as an engineer in Germany.
People move from one country to another looking for better jobs, better education, and a better life. This is also a part of globalization.
However, the movement of people isn't as free and easy as the movement of a smartphone or a t-shirt.
There are rules, visas, and restrictions that make it more difficult.
So while our money and our products are zipping across the world faster than ever, the connection through people is happening a little more slowly.
My friend, we've seen that globalization is this super fast process connecting our world. But what's the secret fuel? What are the superpowers that made it all happen so quickly?
There are three main important things: improvements in technology, liberalization of trade, and investment policies and international organizations.
First up is technology, and it's a big one. Think about it in two parts.
First, transportation tech. 50 years ago, sending something from India to America could take ages and cost a fortune. But then came a hero of a new age, a simple metal box called a container.
Have you ever seen those huge, colorful metal boxes on the back of trucks on the highway or stacked high at a port?
Those magic boxes changed everything. You can pack goods into a container, and that same box can be lifted straight onto a ship, then onto a train, then onto a truck, like a perfect relay race.
This made sending goods across the world much cheaper and faster. Plus, sending things by airplane also became less expensive.
But even more amazing was the revolution in information and communication technology, IT.
My friend, just ask your grandparents what it was like to talk to a relative abroad. You'd write a letter and wait weeks for a reply. Today, you can pick up your phone and have a crystal clear video call with your relatives in Canada in 2 seconds.
That's the power of IT, the internet, computers, and satellites. The internet is like a magic library with all the world's information, and it lets us send messages and ideas anywhere, instantly, for almost zero cost.
This technology makes global teamwork possible. Imagine this cool mission. A popular magazine for readers in London needs to be printed in Delhi.
Step 1. The text of the magazine flies from the London office to an office in Delhi through the internet.
Step 2. The design team in Delhi gets instructions from London over the phone while designing the beautiful pages on their computers.
Step 3. Once printed, the finished magazines are flown to London.
Step 4. How does the Delhi office get paid? The London bank transfers the money instantly over the internet. It's called e-banking, and it works just like you use UPI or Paytm to send money to a friend.
Without this incredible technology to move goods and ideas so fast, the rapid globalization we see today would simply be impossible.
All right, the second major factor helping globalization is something called liberalization.
To understand this, let's go back to our story of the Chinese toys. We saw how they rushed into the Indian market because they were cheaper.
Now, what if the Indian government had acted like a gatekeeper? What if it said, any toy coming into India from another country must pay an entry tax of 50 rupees? This tax is called a trade barrier.
It's like a hurdle in a race, making it harder for foreign goods to enter.
If that tax existed, the cheap Chinese toy would suddenly become more expensive in India. Indian toy makers would have less competition and they would be protected.
For a long time after independence, this is exactly what the Indian government did. It used trade barriers to protect its new baby companies.
Think about it. Just like your parents protect you when you're small and learning to walk, the government protected young Indian industries from big, strong foreign companies.
It was worried that if it didn't, our new companies wouldn't get a chance to grow. So, it only allowed very important things like essential machinery to be imported.
But then, around 1991, a massive change happened. The government felt that Indian companies were now strong enough to stand on their own feet.
It was time for them to step out into the world's playground and compete with the best. The thinking was that competition would push our companies to improve their quality and become even better.
So, the government started removing most of these barriers, these entry taxes and restrictions. This process of removing the government's barriers and giving businesses more freedom to trade is called liberalization. Think of the word liberal as meaning more liberty or freedom.
With the gates open, goods could now flow in and out of India much more easily, and foreign companies could set up their factories here. This new freedom was the second huge boost that made globalization take off.
So we have technology and liberalization. The third one that sped up globalization was pressure from powerful international organizations. The biggest one is the World Trade Organization, or the WTO.
What is the WTO? Think of the WTO as the umpire of world trade.
Its main job is to make sure trade between countries is free and flows smoothly. It sets the rules of the game for more than 160 countries, and it's supposed to make sure everyone follows those rules fairly. Sounds good, right?
Well, here's where the story gets complicated. Many people feel that this umpire isn't always fair. They argue that the WTO's rules often favor the rich, developed countries.
It's like an umpire in a cricket match who has different rules for the two teams. The WTO's rules have pushed developing countries like India to remove their trade barriers and open their gates.
But many developed countries, like the USA, have found clever ways to keep protecting their own players, especially in farming.
Here's how. The US government gives its farmers massive amounts of money called subsidies. This isn't a small amount, it's a huge helping hand.
Because of this extra money, an American farmer can sell his wheat or cotton in the world market for a price that is even lower than what it cost him to grow it.
Now, what happens when this super cheap crop arrives in a country like India? Our local farmers, who don't get this kind of money from the government, simply cannot compete.
It's like being forced to run a race against someone who has been given a huge head start.
So, developing countries are looking at the umpire, the WTO, and asking a very important question. Is this really free and fair trade? Is this a fair match?
This debate shows that while globalization connects us, the rules of connection are often a source of serious conflict.
So, for the last 20 years, globalization has been running at full speed in India. Let's look at its final report card. How has it affected the lives of people like us? As we'll see, the marks are not the same for everyone.
The bright side of the report card. For many people, especially families in our big cities, globalization has been like a festival of choices.
For you, the consumer, because of all the competition between Indian and foreign companies, you now have better quality products, more variety than ever before, and lower prices for everything from phones to shoes. This has massively improved the standard of living for many.
For big companies, MNCs have loved investing in India. They've poured money into making things they know city folks will buy. Smartphones, cars, soft drinks, and fast food. This has created new jobs in these sectors.
And here's the coolest part. Globalization also created Indian champions. The tough competition forced our best companies to improve.
Some got so good that they became MNCs themselves. Companies like Tata Motors, the IT giant Infosys, and Asian Paints are now Indian champions, playing on the world stage, operating in many countries.
Globalization also opened up a superhighway of new opportunities for our IT service companies. We already saw how a magazine for London can be made in Delhi.
To attract even more of this foreign investment, our government has also rolled out the red carpet. They've set up something called Special Economic Zones, SEZs. Think of an SEZ as a VVIP area for companies.
In these zones, they get the best facilities, 24/7 electricity, perfect roads, and they don't have to pay taxes for the first 5 years.
The government also made our labor laws more flexible. What does this mean? Imagine a cricket team owner hiring a player only for the final match, instead of giving them a contract for the whole year.
Similarly, companies can now hire workers for short periods when they're busy, instead of giving them permanent, lifelong jobs. This helps companies cut costs, but as we're about to see, this has a very different impact on the workers themselves. Now, let's flip the report card over. For every bright story, there has been a struggle. For many small producers and workers in India, globalization has been a harsh storm.
Imagine a small, local kirana shop trying to compete with a giant new supermarket that opens next door. That's the battle many small Indian producers have faced.
They've been hit hard by competition from cheaper imported goods like batteries, toys, and tires. Many of these small factories, which employ a massive 11 crore people in India, have had to shut down.
Let me tell you the story of Ravi. In 1992, Ravi started a small company making electronic parts called capacitors. He did well and had 20 people working for him. But then, a new trade rule, part of a WTO agreement, opened the gates for cheap imported capacitors. The big TV companies that used to buy from Ravi now started buying the imported parts, which cost half the price. Today, Ravi business is struggling, and he only has 7 workers left. A single rule change in a faraway meeting room completely changed his life.
And what about the workers? Their lives have been turned upside down. The pressure to compete has made job security a dream for many.
Let's meet Sushila. She used to have a permanent job in a garment factory in Delhi. Think of a permanent job as having a safety net. It came with health insurance, a retirement fund, and job security. But her factory closed.
Now, she's a temporary worker in another factory. Her safety net is gone. She earns less than half of what she used to, works 7 days a week, and gets no pay if she takes a day off. The big American or European brand wants to sell a t-shirt for a cheaper price to make more profit.
So they squeeze the Indian factory owner for a lower price.
The factory owner can't make the price of cotton cheaper, so who does he squeeze? He squeezes the worker by cutting wages and hiring them temporarily.
So, while competition has helped the big MNCs make huge profits, people like Sushila, the workers, are not getting their fair share of the benefits. They are paying the price for our cheap clothes.
So, our report card is mixed. We've seen that the benefits of globalization have been like a big, delicious cake, but it has not been shared fairly.
People with good education, skills, and money have gotten huge slices. But many others, like Ravi and Sushila, have only been left with crumbs.
Globalization is here to stay. We can't turn back the clock. So the biggest question of our time is this: how can we make globalization more fair?
What does fair globalization even mean? It's simple. It means building a world where the opportunities are open to everyone. And more importantly, it means ensuring that the benefits are shared more equally among all people.
And who has the biggest role in making this happen? The government. The government has to be like a wise parent, making sure its policies protect all its children, not just the rich and powerful ones.
So what can the government do? It can act as a strict referee, making sure companies follow the rules that protect workers' rights.
It can support small producers like Raviv, helping them improve and become strong enough to compete.
And if needed, it can bring back some of those trade barriers or gatekeepers to protect industries that are struggling.
And at the big world meetings, like at the WTO, our government can team up with other developing countries to argue for fairer rules, standing up together against the pressure from powerful nations.
But it's not just up to the government. You and I have a role too. In recent years, large campaigns and protests by ordinary people have actually changed big decisions about trade.
This shows that when people raise their voices together for a fair cause, even the most powerful organizations have to listen. The struggle for a fair globalization belongs to everyone.
So, my friend, we've seen how our world is rapidly becoming one large interconnected city.
This is globalization. It's powered by the magic of technology, from the giant magic box containers that cross our oceans to the internet that sends ideas across the world in a flash.
And it was accelerated when countries like India opened their gates through liberalization.
At the heart of this story are the giant MNCs, the master chefs and chief architects of this global city, linking factories and markets from every corner of the planet.
But as we've learned, this interconnected world has two very different faces. For some, it has brought a festival of choices, lower prices, and exciting new opportunities.
But for many small producers like Ravi and workers like Sushila, it has brought a harsh storm of competition and insecurity.
Globalization is our reality. The challenge for our generation is the struggle for a fair globalization.
A globalization where the benefits aren't just enjoyed by a few, but are shared by all, creating a better life for everyone, no matter where they live.
Got any questions? Ask in the comments below. We are here to help. Subscribe for more. And let's keep learning together. That's a wrap. Now go out there and amaze the world with what you've learned. See you in the next one.